American wife Meghan Markle have made their first public appearance in Europe since giving up their royal roles more than 2 years.
What does it look like when a palace doesn't fire a warning shot, but instead silently changes the locks? This isn't about a feud. This is about a final decree. An unspoken, unanimous verdict delivered not with a shout, but with a chilling, bureaucratic silence. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has just been permanently decommissioned. Her royal passport stamped, voided, and shredded. The crime? Believing her own narrative. The sentence? Exile from the last piece of the crown she thought she still owned. The Invictus.
It is such an honor to be here tonight, celebrating all of you and supporting my husband in the Invictus Games, which he found.
Games. Forget the interviews. Forget the books. This is the real bombshell. The one they'll never give an interview about. The palace's ultimate power move isn't a statement. It's a vacuum. And in that vacuum, her entire comeback strategy has just suffocated. She stood at that European gala, bathed in flashbulbs, and delivered a line that will now haunt her. It is such an honor to be here. She believed it was a beginning. A renaissance. She was late, she joked, just like so many of you, a relatable queen. The optics were flawless.
The reason she was late,
yes,
it was basically because it's Harry's show, Harry to begin. And
the dress, a armor of confidence. The smile, a weapon, but across the ocean in a palace room with thick walls and older carpets. That performance was already old news. A tape on delay. While she accepted applause, the decision had already been filed, stamped, and implemented. Her honor had been officially revoked. The glamour wasn't just a facade. It was a crime scene. And she was the perfect, unsuspecting suspect. Let's pull back the curtain. For months, Meghan's team operated with military precision. The Invictus return was deep.
But hilariously, Harry gave Meghan, his wife, quite a symbolic send-off.
Every detail was a coordinated troop movement. Outfits were strategized like battle dress. Media appearances were mapped to specific coordinates on the news cycle. Netflix was her air support, ready to film the glorious victory march. She envisioned a documentary arc so powerful it would rewrite history. The resilient Duchess, returning to the arms of the warriors her in-laws never understood. She would be photographed, tear-streaked but strong, comforting a veteran. The caption wrote itself, "The healer they exiled." It was a brilliant pitch. It was also a fantasy because in those same months, a different war room was active. Its members, King Charles III, the Prince of Wales, the Princess of Wales, the agenda was singular. The Sussex file, and the conclusion was not a negotiation. It was a terminal diagnosis. The Canada incident wasn't a misstep. It was the autopsy, Harry's solo trip north. The shifting stories. The palace's polite inquiries hitting a wall of pleasant, contradictory fictions. When they finally pierced the fog, what they found wasn't chaos. It was calculation. A deliberate obfuscation. And at the center of that web, they found her fingerprints. Not as a supportive wife, but as a co-architect of the deception. That was the point of no return. The moment they stopped seeing a damaged family and started seeing a hostile firm. So, they activated protocol. Permanent frost. The message to Montecito wasn't delivered by a courtier. It was delivered by absence. A void where an invitation should have been. No call, no letter. Just a spreading, unmistakable silence from every official Invictus channel. The understanding was instant, and it was brutal. You are not welcome. Do not ask. When the realization hit, it didn't spark sadness. It detonated a panic. Imagine the scene. The Californian palace. Sunset views. And inside, a tempest. Frantic, red-eyed calls to every number in the black book that had UK next to it. Former aides. Distant cousins. Friends of friends who once had tea with a lady-in-waiting. Please, you have to intervene. Make them see reason. The Duchess, reportedly, was begging. The power broker was now a supplicant. The humiliation was a living thing in the room. The most devastating part? The veterans themselves gently, firmly, closed their doors. She reached out to the warriors. The heart of Invictus. The men and women whose hands she'd held, whose stories she'd shared on stages. Surely they would be her cavalry. Their response was a masterclass in polite, unyielding refusal. They spoke of the sanctity of the event. Of avoiding distraction. They valued the mission, not the media. Their loyalty was to the games, not to a brand. Each polite no was a bullet. Her own supposed army had declined to fight for her. Then, the palace unveiled its masterpiece. The replacement. While Meghan's calls went unanswered, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, was quietly, gracefully being woven into the Invictus fabric. Not with a documentary crew, but with a notebook. Not for headlines, but for handshakes. She would visit recovery centers, speak with families, listen. The contrast wasn't just stark. It was intentional. A lesson in what true patronage looks like, unseen, unglamorous, and utterly real. The message was no longer subtle, the position has been filled. By a professional. Back in Montecito, the atmosphere turned corrosive. Arguments reportedly erupted, so intense that household staff found reasons to be elsewhere. The pressure on Harry became a physical weight. Her stance was an ultimatum wrapped in a plea. If you go without me, you are choosing them. You are validating their rejection of me. You are betraying us. She demanded he torch his own legacy to prove his loyalty. It was the ultimate test. And he failed it not by leaving her, but by wanting to go. He was caught in a crossfire of his own creation. The founder of a movement for the broken, now broken by the movement itself. He made a desperate, secret call to William. A brother-to-brother Hail Mary, there must be a way. A quiet corner. A private moment. William's reply, according to insiders, held zero warmth. The decision was structural. It was about protecting Invictus, not punishing Meghan. There would be no back channels. No secret handshakes. The wall was up and he would not help his brother climb it. Now, let's rewind the tape. Why did it have to come to this? Why would the palace scorch this earth so completely? The betrayal wasn't sudden. It was incremental. A slow poison in the well of goodwill. Start at the beginning. Toronto, 2017, the world's press saw a fairy tale premiere. The veterans saw a hostile corporate takeover overnight, the axis of their world tilted. The cameras, meant for finish lines and triumphant fists, swiveled relentlessly toward a new woman in a white coat. The energy shifted. Resources precious, limited resources for athletes who had lost limbs were diverted. Secure private spaces were carved out for one person. Catering was rerouted. The meticulous, sacred schedule of a healing competition bent under the weight of a single entourage's needs. The athletes smiled for the photos, but inside a resentment sparked. Their moment, their hard-won glory, had become a sidebar to a romance novel. But that was merely the prologue. The true violation came later, wrapped in the slick language of Hollywood. Enter Netflix. Their pitch decks, as reported, should have come with a moral hazard warning. They didn't want to document Invictus. They wanted to dramatize it. To mine it, their proposals allegedly sought exclusive access to the raw, unguarded nerve endings of trauma. Private therapy sessions, family breakdowns, intimate moments of despair between soldiers and their spouses. They wanted to turn courage into content, pain into plot points. And at the center of this staged reality, Meghan, the compassionate guide, the emotional anchor. The veteran stories would become the B-roll for her narrative of redemption. The most grotesque detail? The discussion of paying veterans for exclusive rights to their own experiences, buying their silence, purchasing their pain to serve as proprietary material for a streaming service. It was the ultimate commodification of sacrifice when whispers of this reached King Charles. His reaction was reportedly not one of anger but of profound, cold disgust. He drew a line that redefined the battle. This was no longer about family drama. This was about the exploitation of the very people the monarchy is sworn to honor. The men and women who offered their bodies for their country would not be used as emotional props. For a ratings grab. The order came down, not now. Not ever. Netflix was banned. And with the ban on the cameras, the entire scaffolding of Meghan's planned comeback collapsed. She wasn't just an attendee. She was a producer. No production, no role. The veterans felt this betrayal in their bones. They aren't naive. They recognized performative empathy. They saw the intense, camera-ready focus during public speeches, and the noted absence during the gritty, unphotogenic work of long-term rehabilitation. They saw a star who wanted to shine at their medal ceremonies, but not in their support group meetings. Their sanctuary was being treated as a soundstage. And they, the heroes, were being cast as extras. So the palace's decision, in the end, wasn't cruel. It was protective. It was the institution finally using its weight to shield the vulnerable from the vampiric. They chose the soldiers over the storyline, but make no mistake. This Invictus ban is merely the first, visible tremor of a seismic shift. The palace has unveiled its deadliest weapon yet in this 5-year war: strategic irrelevance. The plan is elegantly brutal: disengage completely, offer no resistance, feed no narrative, become a black hole of no comment. Think about the Sussex fuel. It's conflict. It's the ping-pong of accusation and rebuttal. The palace sources say, versus friends of Meghan reveal. It's a drama that requires two arguing sides. The palace has just walked off the stage. They've left Meghan performing a soliloquy to an empty theater. No villain to rail against. No fortress to storm. Just the echoing silence of her own voice. This is William's domain now. Charles has handed him the Sussex portfolio. And his first executive order is a perpetual ban. Not just from Invictus, but from the entire ecosystem of royal-adjacent charity, ceremony, and Commonwealth soft power. Quiet calls have been made. Commonwealth capitals have been briefed. Treat them as private celebrities, not as quasi-royals. Charitable organizations have received gentle, unignorable guidance. Association comes with complications. The network is being reset, with their login credentials permanently deleted. Harry now stands in the rubble of two worlds, holding the blueprints for neither. His wife demands a loyalty that requires the destruction of his life's singular, authentic achievement. His family offers a return to that purpose under the condition of her absolute, non-negotiable absence. The veterans, his brothers and sisters in spirit, look at him not with anger but with a confused, profound disappointment. The captain of their ship is seen arguing with a siren on the rocks. He is isolated in a way no title, no fortune can remedy, and Meghan? She faces the one adversary her formidable PR machinery cannot defeat: obscurity. Not criticism, not hatred. A vast, yawning indifference. The palace is gifting her an empire of it. Her royal chapter isn't concluding with a dramatic, cinematic finale. It's concluding with the soft, administrative click of a door being locked, a file being closed, a name being quietly removed from a distribution list. The legacy of this scandal is a masterclass in realpolitik. It proves that the most ancient institutions understand the most modern warfare. Data wars, narrative wars. They have seeded the tabloid battlefield to win the war of permanence. They have chosen to be the rock, letting the wave crash and recede against it, unchanged. The final, haunting cliffhanger hangs over a lone figure in a countryside estate. Or perhaps staring at the Pacific Ocean. Will Harry board that plane to Invictus alone? Will he walk through those crowds, a solitary figure trailed by whispers and pity, clinging to the last authentic piece of his soul? Or will he stay, becoming a permanent resident of the California set? A man whose life's work is now a forbidden topic, a ghost in his own home. The palace has made its choice. Harry must now make his. And Meghan, she must learn to reign in a kingdom that no longer has subjects, only subscribers. The debate is live. The court is in session. And your comment is the evidence. Team institution or team insurrection? Did the crown finally act to protect its most sacred duty, honoring those who served, from becoming cheap reality TV? Or did they execute a heartless final cut, sacrificing a son and his wife on the cold altar of tradition and appearance? Was Meghan a modernizer whose tools were misunderstood? Or did she fatally mistake a hallowed institution for just another brand to disrupt? The gavel is in your hand. Deliver your verdict below. This story's official record may be closed, but the public trial is just beginning.